What were the deeper machinations behind Palpatine's survival of the second Death Star and its explosion? Well guys, we've discovered some cool new lore. Welcome back to the archives. We've been expecting you. Somehow Palpatine returned was never a good enough reason for us for how Sidious managed to live being thrown down the reactor shaft, and then essentially exploding into pure force energy. Luckily for us though, Legends continuity doesn't leave us as ambiguous as canon does, deciding to fully explain it in other material. Palpatine managed to claw his way back from the realm of the dead with a team effort, and he could not have done it without two very loyal individuals. However, the price for Palpatine's resurrection was the sanity of these devotees, and the death of dozens, if not hundreds of others. So join us today as we open a holocron and talk about the horrific series of events that led to Darth Sidious's return and resurrection. Sheev Palpatine had spent much of his personal time as Emperor studying the dark side. Using the knowledge from a Jedi holocron of all things though, Palpatine had pieced together the knowledge of essence transfer, the power to move one spirit from one vessel to another in order to prolong their life supernaturally. Sidious practiced on the individual known as Bevel-Lemelisk, the designer of the Death Star, but following this failure, Palpatine had him eaten alive by piranha beetles, only for Bevel to be awakened yet again in a clone of his own body. Palpatine had perfectly transferred the man's spirit upon his death successfully, and Sidious would continue to do this around 6 more times, killing Bevel in various ways and then transferring his spirit to a new body. In doing this, Sidious had mastered the art of essence transfer by the time that he needed it in 4 ABY. Upon his first physical death, Palpatine released his spirit, sending it across the cosmos so that he could inhabit one of his dozens of clone bodies, safely secure on the world of Byss. However, the flight from the outer rim world of Endor to the deep core world of Byss would be too long for the undertaking of his weakened spirit, and Palpatine would surely vanish into the void before he could complete this journey. He would need a temporary body to ferry him the rest of the way, and that body would present itself in the form of his most loyal servant, Jeng Droga. He was one of the Emperor's most loyal hands, alongside Mara Jade. However, Droga was the Emperor's most trusted of all. While perhaps not as efficient as Mara was, Droga was by far the most loyal. As a Dark Jedi, he had devoted himself to the study of the Force in service to his sole Emperor, vowing to never let anything happen to him. All of his anger and energy went into mastering the art of the lightsaber, as he was a Jarkai duelist, wielding 2 weapons at once, one red lightsaber and one yellow. He was so devoted to Palpatine that he established a psychic link between the two of them. Sidious would have him attend to him everywhere that the two of them went. Instead of one of his red guards, it was Droga who was the captain of Palpatine's personal yacht, the Emperor's Shadow. Droga was one of the very few who actually knew of Palpatine's clone body's existence on Byss, which would make him useful in the days to come. Sidious knew that he could trust Droga completely, not only because of how loyal he was, but because he had already saved his life before. When Sidious had ventured to Korriban, he had provoked some of the ancient Sith spirits that had lay there dormant, and he demanded knowledge from them. The spirits, however, attacked Sidious in a rage, prompting the Dark Jedi to come rescue his master. In the year 4 ABY, the Emperor decided to oversee the final construction of the Death Star personally after the first one's destruction. He decided then to send Droga to the Yushan sector, where he would there await further instruction. We know Sidious had planned for the rebels to find the location on Endor in a big plot twist that would ultimately lead Luke to becoming his new apprentice, and at the same time destroying the Alliance. It appears that whatever Droga's orders were, it would have been after his master's plan. However, the plan ultimately failed, and Sidious's body was destroyed. And all the way from Yushan system, Droga felt his master's death through the Force. In that very instant, Sidious's spirit had flown across space, possessing the body of his servant, and taking him directly to Byss. The power of Sidious's spirit entering him, however, combined with feeling his master's death through the Force, was too much for the Dark Jedi to handle, and his body seethed in pain. He began screaming as he fell into insanity, shouting about wanting to be with his master forever. Concerned, one of the members of the crew went to go check on him, but the crewmate's windpipe was instantly strangled through the Force, crushed into oblivion. The rest of the crew went to restrain him, but each one was cut down as Droga ignited his lightsabers and began murdering them all senselessly. Crewmen and technology alike were slashed apart in this rampage, and as he set about killing the rest of them in his psychotic rage, the Emperor's personal yacht plummeted into one of the oceans of the planet of Cal, the ship having sustained too much damage. Droga should have died here, but he had devolved into a Force-powered madness, desiring to be only with his emperor. Unfortunately here there is a huge blank spot in the lore. We aren't exactly sure how, but Droga either made his way to Byss, or he could have been found by Saint Pestage and brought to Byss. Saint Pestage was one of the Emperor's advisors, and was secretly also a dark side acolyte. He was something of a cultist, fanatically obsessed with Palpatine as well. After the Empire's fall, he had become the Grand Vizier of the new Dark Empire, and over the years had amassed a reasonable amount of knowledge in the dark side, as he too was one of the few privy to Sidious's grand plan. Once safely on the world of Byss, Saint began the process of extracting Sidious's spirit out of Droga's body. There was no quick or a pleasant way to do this, and according to some sources, this was a process that could have likely taken years to fully complete. But eventually, Palpatine was put into one of his many cloned bodies. But now he had a new problem. During this time, the remnants of the Empire remained on the outside of the galaxy, squabbling to gain control and retaliate against the New Republic. The first of these was Grand Admiral Thrawn, who got the fullest of his quest, but would ultimately die. The second big wave was Trioculus, a three-eyed human who falsely claimed to be the son of Palpatine. He believed that possessing the right glove of Vader and taking the name of the Emperor gave him the right to rule what was left of the Empire. But again, the efforts came to nothing, and he too was stopped. All the while, Sidious watched from the shadows, allowed all of this to occur. He allowed the rest of the Empire to slam itself against the New Republic, like a wave smashing against the shore. In the end, it served his purpose, as the old Empire needed to be obliterated. It needed to expire. Sidious wanted to see how strong the New Republic actually was, and the remnants of his empire were testing it marvelously. In preparation for his return, he had several new superweapons commissioned, the most problematic of which would be the Galaxy Gun and the World Devastators. But what about Droga and his body? Well, he continued to stay by Palpatine's side even after the Emperor's spirit was lifted from his body. Many of the Emperor's hands at this time had turned against Palpatine and sabotaged the last of his bodies so that he would never return. Only a single clone body remained, but the body had been genetically damaged. Droga accompanied this final clone of Palpatine back to the world of Korriban, as a dying Sidious desperately was trying to seek answers from the ancient Sith. Palpatine had lost all of his clones, and his current body was weak and defective. His incredible power was causing it to deteriorate rapidly, and when Palpatine went to Onderon to find Anakin Solo, he commanded Droga to stay behind in case that he needed him, desiring to infest the body of the young Skywalker. Droga advised against this, but Palpatine paid him no heed. Later, Droga had a vision of his master in trouble and rushed to the world of Onderon to help, only to find that he had been defeated and killed for a final time. Droga had been correct, and he had sensed disaster, a disaster that not even Sidious had felt. Having failed his master yet again, Droga let out a mental scream that echoed through the Force, being heard for days afterwards. Feeling responsible for the demise of Palpatine, the last of the Emperor's hands journeyed to the world of Cal, the world where Palpatine's spirit had originally possessed him. There, he waited for his master to return once more, and in that exact same year of 11 ABY, the Galaxy Gun would be destroyed on Byss, and Saint Pestage would die on the planet during this attack. But still, Droga waited. He waited for decades on end for his master's return, but he would never come. And then, Droga was given a new mission, a mission of vengeance against the treacherous Emperor's hands that had abandoned their master, sabotaged his clone bodies. On this journey, Droga caught a rumor that Palpatine had once again returned to leave a new wave of the Empire known as the Second Imperium. With the intent of joining his master, Droga participated in the Third Battle of Yavin, where he would fight against Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master. During this battle, he discovered that his master had not returned at all, and that Palpatine of the Second Imperium was a pure scam. With nothing to lose, the Dark Jedi Droga went into a maddened berserker fury yet again, attempting to cut down as many Jedi as possible. In the end though, the Dark Jedi would meet his death at the blade of Jedi Knight Kyle Katarn. And that, my friends, was how Palpatine managed to come back, and two of Palpatine's most loyal advisors that ensured that he returned. This makes a little bit more sense for Palpatine's return in Legends continuity than it does in canon, as of course it makes sense that he would have help on behalf of his blindly loyal fanatics. In pure Sith fashion, their contribution was entirely thankless, and they would die horrifically. But please tell us, what do you think? What do you think of Palpatine's ride or dies? And as always, my friends, I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and may the Force be with you.